I walked into my late grandfather's living room and stopped breathing. The entire family was already there, clustered together like they'd been waiting for hours. My sister Brielle stood at the center of everything, laughing that sharp laugh she saved for moments when she wanted everyone's attention. "He's not good enough to inherit anything," she announced, gesturing toward the empty doorway where I now stood. "The lawyer already knows I'm taking a house. Kai can't even take care of himself." The room chuckled. Actually, I chuckled. My mother sat on the couch, looking down at her hands instead of defending me. My aunt suddenly found something fascinating about the floor pattern. Brielle was waving a stack of papers, what looked like renovation sketches. "I'm knocking down these walls as soon as the deed is signed over to me," she said, running her finger across the blueprints. "This place needs someone who actually knows what they're doing." Then someone noticed me standing there. The laughter died. Faces turned. I felt my ears burning, my throat tight with humiliation I couldn't swallow. Please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments where you are listening from. I took a breath and managed to speak. "My name is Kai Rowan, and I need to tell you how my own family tried to erase me. 3 months earlier, everything had been different. Or maybe it hadn't been different at all, and I'd just been too blind to see the truth. Grandfather died on a Tuesday morning in April. Peaceful. The doctor said, like that made it hurt less. I'd been the one sitting beside his hospital bed when it happened, holding his hand while he took his last breath. Brielle had been at brunch. Mother had been shopping. At the funeral, everyone cried and hugged and said beautiful things about him. But when the lawyer mentioned the will reading would be postponed for a few weeks to gather documents, Mother pulled me aside. "Brielle should handle everything," she said, her voice firm. "You're too emotional about this, Kai. Let your sister take care of the details." I wanted to argue. Grandfather had been the only person in our family who truly understood me, who listened when I talked, who made me feel like I mattered. Of course I was emotional, but I nodded anyway, like I always did. Let Brielle handle it. Let Brielle be in charge. Let Brielle shine while I faded into the background. That's what good enough people did, right? They stayed quiet and let others lead. 2 weeks after the funeral, Mother asked me to help clean out Grandfather's study. Brielle was too busy with her new boyfriend. I drove over alone, letting myself in with the key Grandfather had given me years ago. The study smelled like old books and the cologne he used to wear. I stood in the doorway for a long moment, remembering afternoons spent there, talking about everything and nothing. He'd actually cared about my opinions. I started sorting through papers on his desk when I noticed something wedged behind a row of books on the shelf. A sealed envelope, yellowed at the edges, with my name written across the front in Grandfather's shaky handwriting. My heart pounded as I reached for it. But before my fingers could touch the paper, Mother appeared in the doorway. "What's that?" she asked, moving faster than I'd seen her move in years. "It has my name on it," I said, but she was already snatching it from the shelf. She glanced at the envelope, then slipped it into her purse. "Just old papers. Nothing important. Let's focus on the actual cleaning, Kai." I watched her leave the room, that envelope disappearing with her. Something was very, very wrong. The next day, Brielle showed up at the family house with champagne. Actual champagne, expensive looking with a gold label. Everyone gathered in the living room while she popped the cork and poured glasses for Mother and our aunts. She didn't offer me one. "I have an announcement," Brielle said, her smile wide and confident. "I'm going to be the new owner of Grandfather's house. He promised it to me before he died." The room erupted in congratulations. Aunt Caroline hugged her. Mother beamed with pride. "He knew Kai never amounted to anything," Brielle continued, looking directly at me. "So, he wanted someone responsible to have the property. Someone who could actually maintain it properly." I felt my face burning. Grandfather never said that. He never. "He did," Brielle interrupted. "He told me privately, multiple times. You weren't around enough to know what he really wanted." Mother nodded in agreement. Brielle visited him weekly. "You only showed up when it was convenient." That was a lie. I'd visited Grandfather 3 times a week minimum, even when I had to skip work to do it. But no one in that room would believe me over Brielle. No one ever did. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the envelope, about grandfather's handwriting on the front, about mother's quick reaction when she saw it. Around 2 in the morning, I heard voices downstairs. I crept to the top of the stairs and listened. Mother was on the phone, her voice low but urgent. Make sure his name isn't anywhere on the deed. Brielle deserves the house. Not him. He's never been responsible with anything in his life. Silence while the other person responded. I don't care what the original documents say. Mother continued. Find a way to make it work. Brielle needs this. She's a successful one. She's the one who deserves to carry on the family legacy. My hands gripped the banister, so tight my knuckles went white. She was actively trying to cut me out of grandfather's will. She wasn't just supporting Brielle. She was conspiring to steal whatever grandfather had left for me. I went back to bed, but didn't sleep. By morning, I'd made a decision. I needed to talk to the lawyer directly, without Mother or Brielle knowing. Finding grandfather's lawyer wasn't hard. Mr. Alden's contact information was in the funeral program. I called his office first thing Monday morning and made an appointment. His office was downtown, on the 3rd floor of an old brick building. The receptionist led me to a small conference room where Mr. Alden was waiting, a thick folder on the table in front of him. Mr. Rowan, he said, shaking my hand. His grip was firm, but his expression was troubled. I'm glad you reached out. I've been trying to contact you. You have. He sat down heavily. You were supposed to receive a letter before your grandfather passed. It was very important to him that you read it first. But when I tried to deliver it, your mother said you were out of town and she'd make sure you got it. The stolen envelope. That's what it was. She never gave it to me, I said quietly. She took it and hid it. Mr. Alden's face darkened. I was afraid of that. Your grandfather specifically instructed that letter go directly to you. No intermediaries. What was in it? He opened the folder. Your grandfather updated his will 6 months ago. There are some things you need to know. The door burst open. Brielle stormed in, her face red with anger. What the hell are you doing here? Brielle demanded, her eyes darting between me and Mr. Alden. I have a meeting with my client, Mr. Alden said calmly. You weren't invited, Ms. Rowan. Client? Kai isn't your client. I am. Mother and I are handling grandfather's estate. Actually, Mr. Alden replied, his voice cool and professional, Kai has every right to be here. This concerns him directly. Brielle's jaw clenched. She looked at me with pure hatred. You're trying to steal what's mine. I'm trying to find out what grandfather wanted, I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. Mr. Alden stood. Ms. Rowan, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is a private consultation. She didn't move. For a long moment, we all just stood there in tense silence. Then Brielle leaned close to me, her voice dropping to a whisper only I could hear. If you think you're getting anything, I'll make sure Mom cuts you out entirely. Don't push your luck, Kai. You've never been good enough for this family, and you never will be. Then she turned and walked out, slamming the door behind her. Mr. Alden waited until Brielle's footsteps faded down the hallway before speaking again. Your sister doesn't know the full details of your grandfather's will, he said. And based on what I just witnessed, I'm glad she doesn't. What do you mean? He pulled out a document, official looking with stamps and signatures. Your grandfather made some significant changes 6 months ago, but there's a problem. He paused, looking uncomfortable. The addendum to the will, the document outlining those changes, is missing from our files. My stomach dropped. Missing? How is that possible? Someone accessed these files last week. We have security footage showing a woman in her 50s entering this office and asking to use the restroom. She was alone in the hallway for approximately 4 minutes. When we did inventory yesterday, the addendum was gone. My mother, I said, it wasn't a question. I can't prove that without reviewing the footage with you, Mr. Alden said. But yes, the description matches. And the timing aligns with when she called claiming to schedule an appointment for your sister. She'd stolen legal documents. My own mother had committed a crime to keep me from knowing what grandfather wanted. That evening, I drove to my mother's house. My hand shook on the steering wheel, but I forced myself to knock on the door. She answered wearing her reading glasses, a book in her hand. Kai, what are you doing here? We need to talk about the envelope. Her expression shifted, became guarded. I told you, that was nothing important. It was from grandfather. It had my name on it. You had no right to take it. I'm your mother. I have every right to protect you from things that might upset you. Protect me, or protect Brielle's claim to the house? She stepped back like I'd slapped her. How dare you accuse me of... I know you talked to the lawyer. I interrupted. I know you tried to make sure my name wasn't on the deed. I know you took something from his office. You're imagining things, she said, but her voice wavered. You're grieving and not thinking clearly. You're dishonoring your grandfather's memory by acting like this. Where's the envelope? There is no envelope. Then you won't mind if I look around. Her face went pale. Absolutely not. This is my house. You need to leave. But as she spoke, I spotted something. A corner of yellowed paper, sticking out from a drawer in the hall table behind her. The drawer she'd pulled her book from when she answered the door. I need to use your bathroom, I said quickly. Mother frowned. Now, please. She sighed and gestured down the hall. You know where it is. I walked toward the bathroom, but paused when I heard her footsteps heading back to the living room. Quickly, I doubled back to the hall table and opened the drawer. There it was, the envelope with my name on it, slightly crumpled now, but still sealed. I grabbed it and slipped it inside my jacket, just as I heard Mother's footsteps returning. Kai, she called. Are you all right? Fine. I called back, actually going into the bathroom now. I flushed the toilet and washed my hands, my heart hammering so hard I thought she might hear it through the walls. When I came out, she was standing in the hallway, watching me with suspicious eyes. You should go home and rest, she said. You're clearly not yourself. You're right, I agreed. I'll go. I drove 3 blocks before pulling over, my hands shaking too badly to drive safely. The envelope felt like it weighed 100 pounds in my jacket. I opened it carefully, unfolding the single sheet of paper inside. Grandfather's handwriting, shaky but clear. The letter was dated 6 months before he died. Dear Kai, it began, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone and something went wrong with my plans. I'm writing this as a backup, a way to reach you if the official channels fail. You were the only one who visited me when I was truly sick. The only one who asked how I was feeling instead of what I was planning to do with my money. The only one who reminded me that family is supposed to mean something beyond inheritance. The house is yours. I made sure of it legally, but I know your mother and sister will fight this. They always do. They've always seen you as less than, as not good enough, and I've watched it break my heart for years. You are good enough, Kai. You're better than good enough. You're the only one in this family who has a soul that isn't rotted by greed. Please protect this house. It's not just property. It's the place where we talked, where I watched you grow into someone I'm genuinely proud of. Don't let them take it from you. With all my love, grandfather. I sat in my car and cried for the first time since his funeral. The next morning, I went back to Mr. Alden's office with the letter. He read it twice, then looked up at me with something like relief in his eyes. This is enough, he said. This, combined with the original documents we still have, is enough to reopen the deed discussion. What does that mean? It means we can move forward with transferring the house to you, as your grandfather intended. The addendum that was stolen detailed the same information, that you were to inherit the property. This letter serves as additional proof of his wishes. I felt dizzy. Brielle thinks the house is already hers. Brielle is mistaken. The deed hasn't been transferred to anyone yet. We were waiting for all parties to be present for the final reading and signing. My family won't take this quietly, I said. Mr. Alden nodded grimly. I know, which is why I'm documenting everything. The theft, the interference, the threats. If they try to contest this legally, they won't have a leg to stand on. When will it be official? 2 weeks. We need to file the paperwork and schedule the courthouse appointment. Can you wait that long? I thought about Brielle's renovation plans, about Mother's phone call, about years of being told I wasn't good enough. I can wait, I said. I've been waiting my whole life to be seen. 2 more weeks won't kill me. But Mother didn't wait 2 weeks. 3 days later, she called an emergency family meeting at her house. When I arrived, everyone was already there. Cousins, aunts, uncles, people I hadn't seen since a funeral. They sat in a circle in the living room. And Brielle stood in the center, like a prosecutor about to deliver closing arguments. "Thanks for finally showing up," Brielle said as I walked in. "We've been waiting." "What's this about?" I asked, though I already knew. Mother stood up, her expression grave. "This is an intervention. Kai, we're all very concerned about your recent behavior." "My behavior?" "You've been harassing the family lawyer," Brielle said, making wild accusations about Mother, claiming grandfather made promises he never made. "We're worried about your mental state." I looked around the room. Aunt Caroline wouldn't meet my eyes. Uncle Thomas looked uncomfortable. My younger cousin seemed confused about why they were even there. "This isn't an intervention," I said quietly. "This is an ambush." "Call it what you want," Brielle snapped. "The fact is, you're trying to steal what isn't yours. Grandfather wanted me to have the house. Everyone here knows that." "Do they?" I pulled the letter from my pocket. "Because I have something that says otherwise." The room went silent. Brielle's confident smile faltered. "What is that?" Mother asked, her voice sharp. "A letter from grandfather, the one you stole from his study and hid in your drawer." Gasps around the room. Aunt Caroline's hand flew to her mouth. Uncle Thomas sat forward, suddenly interested. Mother's face went pale. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Don't you?" I unfolded the letter. "Should I read it to everyone? The part where he says I was the only one who visited him when he was sick? The part where he says the house is mine? The part where he warns me that you and Brielle would try to fight this?" Brielle lunged forward and snatched the letter from my hands before I could react. She scanned it quickly, her face going from pale to red in seconds. "This is fake," she declared, though her voice shook. "This is completely fake. Kai forged this." "Let me see it," Uncle Thomas said. Standing up, "No." Brielle backed away, holding the letter against her chest. Then, in a movement that seemed to happen in slow motion, she grabbed both edges of the paper and ripped it cleanly in half. The room exploded. Aunt Caroline started shouting. Uncle Thomas demanded to know what was happening. Mother tried to restore order, but her voice was drowned out in the chaos. I stood there, watching pieces of grandfather's letter flutter to the floor, and felt strangely calm. Brielle had just made a terrible mistake. That was evidence. I said loudly enough to cut through the noise. "Legal evidence, and it will dispute. You just destroyed it in front of a room full of witnesses." Brielle's eyes widened as she realized what she'd done. "It was fake anyway," she said weakly. "Then why destroy it?" Uncle Thomas asked. "If it was fake, why not just let the lawyer examine it?" Brielle looked to Mother for help. "Everyone needs to calm down," Mother said. "This is getting out of hand." "No," I replied. "This is finally getting honest. You've been lying to everyone about grandfather's wishes. You've been scheming to cut me out of the will. You stole legal documents. And now Brielle just destroyed evidence in front of multiple witnesses." "You can't prove any of that," Mother said. "Actually, I can. Mr. Alden has security footage of you at his office, and he has copies of grandfather's letter. The one Brielle just tore up? It's not the only version. That was a lie, but they didn't know that. And judging by the looks on their faces, it was working." Aunt Caroline stood up. "I think I need to hear the truth here. What did grandfather's letter actually say?" Before I could answer, Brielle ran from the room, sobbing. I'd lied about Mr. Alden having copies, but what I didn't know was that he'd done something even better. 2 days after I showed him the original letter, he'd sent it to a forensic handwriting analyst. He called me that evening to give me the results. "The letter is authentic," he said. 100% matched to your grandfather's handwriting from other verified documents. The paper age is consistent with the date on the letter. There's no possibility this is a forgery. Brielle tore it up. I told him. At a family meeting. In front of everyone. A pause. She destroyed legal evidence? Yes. Perfect, Mr. Alden said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. That's actually perfect. The analyzed version is admissible in court, and we now have multiple witnesses to her attempting to destroy evidence. If they contest the will, this will not go well for them. What about Mother? She was involved in stealing from your office. I'm preparing a report for the local police, he said. Theft of legal documents is a serious crime. Whether your mother faces charges will depend on if we can definitively identify her in the security footage, but at minimum, it establishes a pattern of interference with your grandfather's estate. I felt something like hope for the first time since grandfather died. What happens now? Now we proceed with the deed transfer. I've already filed the necessary paperwork. Your courthouse appointment is set for next Friday at 10 a.m. Bring identification, and the original documents I'll send you. After that, the house is officially yours. But Mother didn't give up. 2 days before the courthouse appointment, I got a call from Mr. Alden again. Your mother tried to have the will contested, he said. She filed an emergency motion claiming your grandfather wasn't in his right mind when he made the changes 6 months ago. My stomach sank. Can she do that? She can try, but she needs medical evidence. So I reached out to your grandfather's primary care physician and his specialist. Both are confirmed in writing that he was fully lucid and competent at the time he updated his will. In fact, the specialist notes that your grandfather specifically discusses reasoning for the changes during an appointment. What reasoning? He told the doctor that you were the only family member who treated him like a person instead of a bank account. The doctor documented it in his medical notes. It's very clear, very detailed, and completely contradicts your mother's claim. So the motion won't work? The judge threw it out this morning. Your mother's lawyer advised her to stop pursuing this angle. It's only making her look worse. That should have been the end of it, but I'd underestimated how desperate Brielle had become. She showed up at my apartment that night, pounding on the door until I opened it. Her makeup was smeared, her hair messy. She looked like she'd been crying for hours. You ruined everything, she said, pushing past me into the apartment. Do you have any idea what you've done? Brielle, you need to leave. I told everyone I was getting the house. Her voice rose to a shout. I told my friends, my boyfriend, his family. I took out a loan based on using that house as collateral. I already paid contractors' deposits for the renovation. I stared at her. You took out a loan? For a house you didn't own yet? Grandfather promised it to me. Everyone knew I was getting it. And now you've swooped in with your fake letter and your sob story and stolen my future. It wasn't your future to steal, I said quietly. It was never yours. Grandfather wanted me to have it because you manipulated him. You showed up at the hospital playing the devoted grandson while you were really just positioning yourself to take what should have been mine. I visited him because I loved him, not because I wanted something from him. She laughed bitterly. Nobody does anything without wanting something. You're just better at hiding it than I am. I think you should go. Sign the house over to me, she said suddenly. Do the right thing, Kai. Think about the family. Think about how this looks. No, I'll lose everything. The loan, the deposits, my reputation. That's not my problem. Her expression twisted into something ugly. You're going to regret this. Both you and Mother will make sure of it. The courthouse appointment felt surreal. I showed up 30 minutes early, wearing the only suit I owned, carrying the folder of documents Mr. Alden had given me. Mother wasn't there. She'd told Mr. Alden she wanted nothing to do with this betrayal of family values. But Brielle showed up, late, crying, desperate. She found me in the waiting area outside the clerk's office. Kai, please. I'm begging you. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything except accepting what grandfather wanted me to have. He didn't know what he was doing. He was old and sick, and you took advantage. Ms. Rowan. Mr. Alden appeared in the doorway. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is a private proceeding, and you're not authorized to be present. That's my family's house. Brielle shouted. It's Kai's house, Mr. Alden corrected, as of approximately 15 minutes ago. The judge has signed a transfer order. We're just here for the official deed documentation now. Brielle looked at me, her face crumpling. You won. I didn't win anything, I said. I'm just not losing anymore. She turned and walked away, her shoulders shaking with sobs. Inside the clerk's office, I signed my name on document after document, and then the clerk handed me a folder with the new deed inside. My name, printed in bold official letters. Owner of the property at 847 Maple Grove Road. Grandfather's house was mine. That evening, Mother sent me a text message. You've broken this family apart. I hope you're proud of yourself. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. I didn't break anything. You and Brielle tried to steal from me and got caught. That's not my fault. 3 dots disappeared, appeared again. Then a voice message came through. I almost didn't listen to it, but curiosity won out. Brielle, honey, don't worry. Mother's voice, not meant for me at all. We'll find another way to get the house from him. He can't maintain it. He'll give up eventually. We just have to wait him out. Maybe if we stop speaking to him, he'll feel guilty enough to sign it over. Or we can contest the deed transfer on other grounds. There are always options. She'd sent it to me by accident. Meant for Brielle. It had come to me instead. I saved the message, backed it up in 3 different places, and sent a copy to Mr. Alden. Then I blocked both their numbers. 2 weeks later, Mother and Brielle showed up at the house. I was there painting the guest bedroom when I heard a car in the driveway. I looked out the window and saw them both getting out of Mother's sedan. They walked up to the door, but instead of knocking, Brielle pulled out her phone and made a call. Minutes later, a locksmith's van pulled up. I watched through the window as Brielle approached the locksmith, gesturing animatedly toward the house. She was crying, playing the victim, probably spinning some story about being locked out of her own home. The locksmith looked sympathetic. He nodded, pulled out his tools, and approached the front door. I opened it before he could start working on the lock. Can I help you? I asked calmly. The locksmith looked confused. This lady says she's a homeowner and locked herself out. This lady is lying. I pulled out the deed from my back pocket. I'd started carrying it everywhere. I'm the homeowner. My name is Kai Rowan. See? Right here on the deed. The locksmith's expression changed as he read the document. He turned to Brielle. Ma'am, did you lie to me? He stole the house from me, Brielle said desperately. It was supposed to be mine. That's not what this legal document says. The locksmith packed up his tools. I'm not getting involved in family drama. Figure this out yourselves. He left. Mother and Brielle stood on the porch, staring at me. This is ridiculous, Mother said. We just want to see the house one last time. No, I replied. We have a right. You have no rights here. This is my property. You're trespassing. Brielle's face crumpled again, the tears starting. How can you be so cruel? After everything we've done for you, what have you done for me? I asked genuinely. Tell me one thing either of you has done that was actually for my benefit and not yours. Silence. I visited grandfather 3 times a week. I continued. I brought him books. I sat with him during chemo. I held his hand when he was scared. Where were you? I was busy, Brielle whispered. You were busy planning how to spend his money. Both of you were. And when he decided to leave his house to someone who actually cared about him, you tried to steal it. We're family, Mother said, but her voice was weak. Family doesn't do what you did to me. Family doesn't lie and manipulate and destroy legal documents. Family doesn't tell someone they're not good enough for 30 years and then act surprised when that person walks away. I stepped back inside and started to close the door. Kai, wait. Brielle reached out. Goodbye, Brielle. Goodbye, Mother. Don't come back here. I closed the door and locked it, listening to their footsteps retreat down the porch. Their car doors slam, the engines start and fade away. Word spread to the family quickly. Cousins called asking what really happened. Aunts and uncles wanted the truth about the will, about the stolen documents, about Brielle tearing up the letter. Mother and Brielle tried to control the narrative, painting me as the villain who'd manipulated a sick old man. But Uncle Thomas had been at that family meeting. He'd seen Brielle destroy the letter. He'd heard the lies. He started telling people what he'd witnessed. Aunt Caroline confirmed it. The story spread from there, growing more accurate with each retelling. Within a month, Mother and Brielle's social circle had shrunk dramatically. People stopped returning their calls. Invitations dried up. The family unity they'd tried to weaponize against me turned against them instead. Brielle's loan came due. She couldn't pay it without the house she'd promised as collateral. Her credit rating tanked. The contractor deposits were lost. Her boyfriend left when he realized the wealthy lifestyle she promised was built on lies. Mother tried to host her annual holiday party, but only 3 people showed up. The rest of the family quietly decided they'd rather not associate with someone who tried to steal from her own son. I heard all of this secondhand, through cousins who still talk to me. I didn't take pleasure in it, but I didn't feel guilty either. They'd made their choices. Now they lived with the consequences. I moved into grandfather's house on a Saturday morning in June. The place was exactly as he'd left it, frozen in time from the last day he'd been there. I spent weeks cleaning, sorting, preserving. I didn't want to erase him from the space. I wanted to honor his memory while making it mine. I kept his favorite chair in the living room. I framed some of his old photographs and hung them in the hallway. I planted flowers in the garden he'd loved but hadn't been able to maintain in his final years. I renovated carefully, thoughtfully, not tearing down walls like Brielle had planned, but restoring what was already there. Fresh paint, fixed plumbing, new windows that actually closed properly. I invited my cousins over for dinner, the ones who'd stood by me, who'd told the truth when it mattered. We ate on grandfather's porch and told stories about him, laughing at memories instead of crying over them. Uncle Thomas helped me repair the fence. Aunt Caroline brought me housewarming gifts. Slowly, the house stopped feeling like a battlefield prize and started feeling like home. One evening, I sat in grandfather's chair and pulled out his letter, the one I'd laminated after Brielle tore it. I read it again like I did most nights. You are good enough, Kai. You're better than good enough. For the first time in my life, I believed it. 3 months after moving in, I was watering the garden when I saw someone standing at the gate. Brielle, just standing there, staring at the house like she was trying to memorize it. I turned off the hose and walked over, but I didn't open the gate. What do you want? I asked. She looked different, thinner, older somehow. The confidence that used to radiate from her was completely gone. I didn't think you'd ever win, she said quietly. I didn't have to win, I replied. Grandpa already chose. She nodded slowly, tears running down her face. I know. I always knew, really. That's why I fought so hard. Because deep down, I knew he loved you more. He didn't love me more. He just loved me for who I was instead of what I could give him. I'm sorry, she whispered, for everything. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to feel vindictive. But standing there, looking at my sister who'd lost everything she tried to steal, I mostly just felt tired. I'm not ready to forgive you, I said. Maybe someday, but not now. She nodded again. I understand. She turned to leave, then paused. The house looks good. The garden. He would have liked what you've done with it. I know he would have. I watched her walk away, getting smaller in the distance until she disappeared around the corner. Then I went back inside, closing the gate behind me. Not shutting her out forever. Maybe, but closing the door on the version of myself who believed I wasn't good enough. The version who'd let them walk all over me. The version who'd stayed quiet while they tried to erase me. That version was gone. In his place was someone stronger. Someone who knew his own worth. Someone who'd learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's boundaries. It's peace. It's living well in the house you were told you'd never deserve. If this story touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below about a time you had to stand up for yourself against family pressure. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful true stories every week.